Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord here, and you know the usual shit, it's SeetherTalks, let's begin. Today's episode will be covering multiple aspects of the furry community, all with one objective in mind: stereotypes. That is right everyone. Today we will be discussing the common stereotypes found within many different types of people within the furry community, and I will be giving my thoughts on each and every one of them and see how they hold up today. Are they just unfair assumptions about the said type of furry, or are they fully justified? Let's find out. The 5 different type of furries we will be covering today are furry artists, popufurs, fursuiters, furry musicians, and fursuit makers. My girlfriend also suggested for me to discuss gay furries, but if I did that, then I'd just be talking about furries as a whole at that point. It was just a joke! Anyways, let's begin with the furry artists. A stereotype commonly seen amongst artists and in the furry community is how they're viewed as usually not being available for giving out free art or doing requests once they get to a level of success online. I personally am on the side of the artist for this due to the fact that I can just simply understand not giving out free art most of the time. Typically because a lot of the people who tend to ask for free art are people who don't know the artist personally, so why should you just give a random stranger online free art of their persona out of nowhere? Another reason that I support the artist in the stereotype is because once they start opening up for commissions and eventually want to get to where they can make a career out of it, or at least help with it as a second source of income, asking for free art typically can get in the way of that. So if you ask an artist for free art or requests and they say no, it's more than likely nothing personal, but something that they must not give into doing anymore because they want to work on the financial aspects of their passions, and you asking them for free art can more than likely get in the way of that. A stereotype commonly found amongst popufurs is that they most of the time are stuck up and don't talk to certain people that they don't deem popular enough. This stereotype is one that I don't have any real evidence to back up as true, but I have talked to other furries who have told me specific stories of this happening before at conventions. In some cases, where certain popufurs had their own posse of people or an entourage to follow them around, and others who would throw furry parties at their house and wouldn't let in certain people that they didn't seem worthy enough. I'm not going to name drop any of the people who were accused of this, but I will say that these actions did tend to come from some of the furries that were popular on Vine at the time that the website was still around. Still, I'm not going to name drop or anything, just saying from where they came from specifically. Other than that, not all popufurs are full of themselves. Some are very friendly and helpful, and pretty much every popufur that I have interacted with in my life has been completely nice to me. So overall, I don't know how to feel about popufurs as a whole, but I give a pass to all the ones I've encountered within my lifetime. I pretty much already covered fursuiters in depth in one of my more recent videos, so please check out that video for more discussion on how certain ones think that they are better than others just because they own a fursuit. Link down below in the description to watch that video. There's not many of them and nobody ever loved them. So sad.
They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all, at all, at all.
The final group of furries we will be discussing the stereotypes of are fursuit makers. A common stereotype that fursuit makers have is very similar to that of furry artists, which are, again, not giving out free art / fursuits or whatever they're selling for their business. Same as with the furry artists, the fursuit makers shouldn't get flack for this stereotype. I understand why they do this. They can't just always give out free material, they've got a job to do. Another stereotype about fursuit makers is the issue of bad communication with the buyer on progress of the fursuit. In many cases, a fursuit maker will offer to get only certain parts of the fursuit completed with each payment because of people not being able to pay the entire fee for the fursuit all at once, which is understandable considering how the economy is these days. So as long as the maker and the buyer is able to work out an agreement, then it's all good in the hood, dog. Why did I just say that way? I am not gangsta. This is so cringy. What the fuck? But the biggest problem with these fursuit makers that many buyers have criticized, and this is more aimed towards the less popular fursuit makers in my opinion, is that the maker will not give virtually any updates about the suit, or will keep delaying getting certain parts of the suit finished because of their personal life getting in the way, or will just stop responding to messages for days about the progress of the suit even though you gave this person hundreds of dollars already. This is something that is extremely frustrating to many people within the fandom, and I have heard of many stories of this happening. Hell, I even heard of one story where it got so bad to the point to where they took it to court. It's crazy. Now don't get me wrong, stuff happens in life. We get busy. A lot of the times the maker has a second job to go to. I get it. But some of the makers really need to consider the customer and communicate with them on their suits. And I'm not saying always being available every possible second to respond to messages, but don't let it get to this level of bad, because the buyer deserves some respect when you gave them hundreds of dollars already to get your suit made and you owe them. And that pretty much wraps up all the stereotypes about the different groups of furries within the fandom. Overall, I think that most of the stereotypes that are given to certain furries within the community are somewhat real, but even if they're real, they're not necessarily bad stereotypes and they're more so understandable. And yet there are also some that are justified that they need to work on. And this is all still my own personal opinion, so if you disagree, then that's completely alright. So that pretty much wraps up this episode of SeetherTalks for today. How do you guys feel about the stereotypes that were given to these groups of furries within the fandom? Do you think they're justified? Do you think they're not? Is there any others about certain groups within the fandom you should add in that I didn't? Or am I completely on point with all of them, there's no others? Let me know down in the comment section down below. If you enjoy my content and want to further help out my channel, please consider donating to my Patreon page, hitting that like button, turning on that notification bell, and subscribing altogether. I've been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.
Then let Mother read you a story.
I'll try to do it, I guess.
Now, which story would you like to hear, young laddie?
I sound like a combination of Professor Oak and the freaking milkshake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, so it's pretty funny.